Newton News is brought to you in part by the Village Bank. Your village, your bank.
Memorial Day in Newton started as it always does, with the wreath-laying ceremony at Newton Cemetery to honor and pay tribute to all of the men and women of the armed forces who are no longer with us. Many veterans, residents, and city councilors were in attendance for the ceremony on this day of remembrance. After the cemetery service, there was a recognition ceremony at the steps of City Hall, where the Sons of the American Legion, in partnership with the City of Newton, recognized and memorialized all veterans who died serving their country, as well as honoring all living veterans and publicly recognizing their service to our country.
I mean, think about it. Memorial Day is a remembrance, as said by Commander Joe Sterniolo, and we wanted to combine the remembrance with the present, and that's what we did today, having those veterans introduce themselves to their friends and family.
Although the wreath-laying ceremony has been going on for many years, this is the first year they've had this ceremony at the steps of City Hall, and the town of Newton hopes it'll start a new tradition on Memorial Day. The City of Newton always honor and recognize veterans, but this was a very special inaugural ceremony on Memorial Day. In combination with the cemetery service, this new ceremony creates another way we can honor all the veterans who have passed, as well as all of our living veterans, all while reminding us what this holiday is really about and giving us another opportunity to pay homage to our veterans.
It's important that we're recognizing the World War II veterans because, as many people forget from time to time, that's the last greatest of the generations, and they're leaving quite rapidly. Over 100 World War II veterans die every day. So to acknowledge them and read their names off here today is very impactful and meaningful. And then as we go on through the years, we'll be remembering both Korea and Vietnam as well. So it's important that we stop, pause, and recognize this in the community.
This was very unique to Newton. We think it went well. It's very difficult to get the veterans to come. I think we had about 60 or 70, which isn't a bad start, but we want to make that grow. There's a lot of veterans in Newton that we want to recognize.
And we remember with deep, deep gratitude our sisters and brothers who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
Ryan Caveney, Newton News, Newton Center.
Members of the Newton community lined Walnut Street and Watertown Street on Sunday afternoon for the annual Memorial Day Parade. Military veterans and community organizations and leaders marched their way from Newton North High School to Magny Coletti Park. Newton Director of Veteran Services, Seth Bai, believes it is important for Newton to honor its military veterans.
It's absolutely fundamental that the community stops once, twice, 3 times a year around these specific patriotic holidays to acknowledge and to appreciate the sacrifices made by the men and women from the community here in Newton.
Newton Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller adds that the parade unites the community.
Memorial Day really matters, and the parade is a way to bring the whole community together, the young and the young at heart, to help celebrate and remember the fallen.
Jack Porter, the chaplain of the Jewish War veterans, says his organization wants all veterans to be remembered.
It's important that we remember all veterans, and especially the Jewish veterans who fought in every war, revolutionary, through Syria, Iraq, etc.
David Brown, the master of Garden City Lodge, says the parade is a great way for organizations to be part of the Newton community.
The best part is just seeing all the great people that come out to watch the parade, waving to the kids, seeing them wave back at us. It's a lot of fun.
Bai said that the Memorial Day Parade is part of Newton's pledge to always honor its veterans.
The takeaway is to appreciate that we stop to recognize the servicemen and women in Newton that paid the ultimate sacrifice, and that we'll always make sure that we preserve a community here in Newton that respects and cherishes its veterans.
Jason Siegel, Newton News, Nonantum.
Tensions were high as around 50 students from Rambam Estiva School in Lawrence, New York, demonstrated outside of Newton South High School in protest of Newton South's religious curriculum. The students and faculty of this school argued that the school is pushing an anti-Israel agenda.
What brought us here is the sad reality that Newton South High School, amongst other schools, are actually teaching a false, an inappropriate curriculum, and a curriculum which expunges certain things that we think the students should be exposed to. So if they're teaching the Hamas Charter, which they are, I can give you a copy of it, they expunge Article 7, which specifically says, kill the Jews.
Newton South High School parents argued that the teachers at the school show both sides of the complex issue.
I have 5 kids who've gone through the Newton Public Schools, and my youngest is a senior. And I've never seen any evidence of anti-Semitism. I'm a Jewish parent. I think it would be very concerning if it were true, but it's not there. It's just not true. Our schools are very inclusive. They work very hard to have diverse opinions presented to the students. They follow the Massachusetts curriculum frameworks. So I think our teachers are great, and we don't tolerate anti-Semitism or any other kind of hate in Newton. It's just not done here.
A group of Newton South students began a counter-protest across from the rally voicing their support of the school's curriculum. Although many students and parents agreed that the school was not teaching an anti-Israel agenda, some Newton South parents argued otherwise.
I think they're doing a great job to prevent it because it's political. The school doesn't like to get involved in the political. There is so many people from pro-Palestine, and I think it's creating a big problem. Hate is growing. The synagogue in Needham just got on fire. There's another place. The hate is growing, and we covered under the carpet. Unless we stand up and we say we need to stand up for the truth and do something about it, Pittsburgh will be here in Newton.
Even in the face of criticism, the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, Toby Romer, continued to support his teachers and the curriculum.
We have really thoughtful expert teachers who work very hard with their students to present really unbiased, balanced curriculum and historical facts. And we really promote critical thinking in our students. Our students and families are really happy with the education that we're getting here. And anyone within our community that has concerns, we constantly are engaging with them and learning from them. And we're just so proud of the work that our teachers and students do every day in Newton South.
The New England Paralyzed Veterans of American Bass Trail is happening in Newton this weekend. Anglers with disabilities are paired with boaters for a day of competitive fishing. The team with the largest weight for their limit takes home first-place trophies. The event is happening at the Newton Yacht Club and starts before sunrise and ends with an afternoon picnic and awards ceremony. Feel free to stop by and cheer on our veterans. Every Friday and Saturday from now through October, the Newton Resource Recovery Center on Rumford Ave is hosting the Recycling Depot Swap Shop. Clear out your clutter and drop off clean, usable items, or take something you can use yourself, all at no cost. For a complete list of what is accepted, check out newtonma.gov/reuse. Do you have items at home that need fixing? Check out the Fix-It Clinic at the Newton Free Library and try your hand at repairing broken items with a volunteer coach on hand. It's happening in the Maker's Space in the library on Saturday, June 1st from noon to 4 p.m. Some items include bikes, small appliances, jewelry, and fabric items. To register, email newtonrecycling@gmail.com or visit the library's event page. Newton is hosting Porch Fest for the second time. Last year, there were over 60 musical acts at 40 locations in Auburndale. This year is bigger and better. There will be over 100 musical groups performing, and it's expanded to include Lower Falls and Waubun. Enjoy an afternoon on Saturday, June 1st from noon to 6 p.m. For a complete list of bands along with a map and schedule, visit newton.porchfest.info. A rain date is set for Sunday, June 2nd. The Newton Police Department is holding a gun buyback day on Saturday, June 15th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Second Church on Chestnut Street. Residents may dispose of their unwanted guns and receive a gift card for each one. This is part of the Middlesex Sheriff's Office Safer Homes, Safer Communities project, and since 2013, 11 municipal departments with a total of 20 buybacks resulted in nearly 1,000 unwanted weapons turned in. If you cannot make the Newton location, you may drop off your unwanted gun in Cambridge on June 8th, Watertown on June 22nd, and Arlington on June 29th.
When I drive through Newton, all I see is expensive houses. And I don't know if I could afford Newton or live in Newton. I'm a doctor, I'm a CEO, I have a venture-backed company, and this is unattainable for me. So how about my employees? They can't live here either.
Hiring and retaining employees is absolutely one of our biggest concerns here. Can I say we're having a hiring crisis? Yes, I can comfortably say that our hiring situation is critical at this point.
This is the worst it's ever been for Dungarans. Basically, we're trying so hard to every day figure out how do we find people to come to work in our operations. Work is easy. It's just finding a place to live is really the key.
It's important to have housing that matches market demand so that you can have workers in the region that are near the jobs that are available.
Newton's housing stock right now is so limited that our community is not coming together in the best way that it could. It is a great place to live, it is a great place to grow up, and our young people, unfortunately, when they leave the nest, they're not seeing it as a place that they can ever come back to. Single-family housing that used to be of at a level that a young couple could afford is gone. And I think it's sad for Newton to be losing its daughters and sons.
I wanted to buy the building because I love the neighborhood that it's in. If a restaurant was to come in as my feature tenant, they would most likely have a challenge to find employees that live locally.
It breaks my heart to think some of the people who have worked for me for over 26 years travel 4 hours a day to get here. 2 in, 2 out.
If we were to add housing stock to this region, both workforce housing and affordable housing, the commuting opportunities become greater, whether that's pedestrian, public transportation, scooters, and bicycles. Development needs to be broad enough and diverse enough so that it's inclusive and not directed at one particular income level.
Think of it this way, if Newton doesn't support more residential development, it will not be able to move the needle on commercial development.
I am standing up for providing more opportunities for these families to live in Newton and to provide the great diversity that a community like Newton, a city like Newton, deserves to have.
Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition is dedicated to preventing environmental causes of breast cancer. Please join us for our 2019 annual Against the Tide events at DCR's Hopkinton State Park on Saturday, June 15th, and at DCR's Nickerson State Park in Brewster on Saturday, August 17th. Participants can choose to take part in one or more of the following. Competitive choices include a 1-mile swim, USA Track and Field certified 5K or 10K runs, or 5K or 10K aquathons. Recreational choices include 1 or half-mile competitive swims, 3-mile fitness walk, 2-mile kayak, or half-mile paddleboard. All swim and run components are chip timed. Please support NBCC's goals to prevent breast cancer by registering or making a pledge today at nbcc.org/swim.
Building on the success of the 2018 Upper Falls Greenway Beyond Boundaries sculpture exhibit, the N² Innovation District, along with Studios Without Walls, announced plans for the 2019 Greenway Arts program. This year's theme is Reverberation, and will launch with an event on June 13th and feature up to 20 sculptures in conceptual art along the 1-mile trail, which runs parallel to Needham Street. The group recently launched a fundraising effort to raise $14,000 by June 1st to ensure the artists are paid fairly for their work, as well as the installation and maintenance of the exhibit. This year promises to be bigger and better than ever. By joining the arts community with local residents and businesses, the N² Innovation District Initiative aims to activate the Greenway as a gathering point for everyone. More information is available online at the address listed on the screen.
I am Jean Homeblad. I'm one of the librarians here at the Newton Free Library, and I work in youth services. And what we are having fun with tonight is called typewriter poetry, where we type up poems for people on the spot, whatever they would like us to type up for them. And we use old typewriters because it's just really fun and it makes a great noise and they're great conversation pieces. I think it's the feel, and I think it's definitely the sound. And then when you're done, you can hand something to someone and it's finished. And you can't word process it, you can't cut and paste, you can make X's, but it's kind of more final. It's kind of more finished.
I'm Hunter Young. I'm a freshman at Newton North High School, and I've been here since the inception of the idea.
I'm Jen Jonas Walsh. I'm a junior from Newton North, and I have been here for a little over a year.
I come here every month that happens, and it's always nice to do something kind for people and to have a good time doing it.
Yeah, it creates a sense of community. It's like we all just come here and have fun and talk, and it's not stressful. Because like on-demand writing can be stressful, like in class. It's like write an essay on like transcendentalism in 45 minutes. That's not fun, but this is fun, even though it's on the spot. And it's just a nice time. I really like writing poetry. I've been writing it ever since I was little. Like as long as I can remember, I've been writing, and I've wanted to be a poet for like the longest time. I just write because it's fun. It like I enjoy it, and it's just a great way to like express yourself. It's kind of nice like writing on typewriter, because for a lot of people I'd never like used a typewriter before coming here, so it's just kind of cool seeing how it worked and like how to like writing like on typewriter instead of a computer, or with a pen or pencil. And it's kind of fun, teens writing on typewriters that their parents might have used 50 years ago or something.
I'm Abigail Gaskin, and I'm homeschooled, and I've been going to typewriter poetry nights for about 6 months now, and I just really enjoy them because it's a way to connect with people in the community, and it gets me writing poetry when I probably wouldn't be otherwise.
Tom Brady calmly waits for game day while all America bites their nails. In just a few days, my dad will jump up and down from the sofa, and my brother's heart monitor will change rapidly. And I will watch and wait as history is made.
Perfect.
This guy came up and I explained to him what we're doing, and he asked for a poem about the Patriots, and since I'm definitely a big Boston fan, I really love the Patriots. So that was a rather easy subject. So on the way here, I was listening to this interview on the radio by Tom Brady, and so I had some inspiration from that, and so I just started jotting down the first thing that came into my head, and then I started writing on the typewriter and just went from there. It just feels very special, blessing someone and sort of making their day, and I just enjoy writing for someone else.
My general process is thinking about like what I want to include and what I want to include it in, because poetry is a very open medium with lots of different diverse styles and formats and meters. So general ideas of what meter to match the tone and what to include in said meter. We have pads of lined paper and pencils, but we also have plain printer paper, and I think we have rhyming dictionaries and examples of assorted meters and verse styles for examples if we ever get stuck, which has happened.
We love these random acts of kindness. I think that's the best part about this, is no one expects you to do a poem for them for free, and we are so happy to do it. If you want to just spend 20 minutes figuring out how a typewriter works, that's totally fine. If you've never typed up a poem, that's totally fine. If you just want to hang out with us, that's fine. If you just want us to type up a poem for you, That's fine. We're very laid back. It's just a place to be creative and chill and chat and hang out at the library and meet some interesting people.
Anyone can write poetry, like, you know, anywhere, anytime, and I love that about it. It's kind of freeing.
We have to keep remembering that these miracles can happen every day, and they do happen every day, but only if people step up, and particularly when they're renewing their driver's license, step forward and make sure that they are on the organ donation list.
You can register at any age, and you go to registerme.org to do that. We actually do have work with driver education schools, because the vast majority of individuals who do register here at the state of Massachusetts at the RMV. In fact, 99.6% of all people in Massachusetts who register do so at that important state agency, and that's actually true throughout the country. I do want to say that organ donation is extremely rare. You're actually more likely to need a transplant than to become an organ donor. And in fact, only 2% of all deaths happen in a manner that one can become an organ donor. Today in the United States, there's over 115,000 people waiting for the life-saving transplant, and sadly, 21 people will die each day waiting for that transplant. Our objective is to try to help save as many lives as possible. Pinnacle importance is life. Our motto is donate life. We don't want anyone to pass away, period. Police, fire, EMT do a wonderful job of one thing, and that's saving people's lives and getting them from an event to the hospital as quickly as possible. They have no say in the organ donation process. The doctors and nurses at the hospital do a wonderful job of saving people's lives. They have no say in the organ donation process. That only occurs when the OPO, Organ Procurement Organization, is called to see if that individual could be a good candidate for an organ donor. And that only occurs, sadly, when someone has passed away.
My name is Jim Pazanese, and I'm here today because somebody donated a lung. I had a lung transplant 5 years ago. I have pulmonary fibrosis, which most people have never heard of. But I'm standing here today because of that, and I'm healthy, and I have one lung. So, and I also volunteer for the Brigham and Women's Hospital, a wonderful organization, and I volunteer for the New England Donor Services for 4 years now. It's just a wonderful organization. I do that because I want to give back. I was given a gift, saved my life, and I need to give back. So the organ donation system, and I also go to Watertown RMV and spend some time there with the folks and encourage people to check the box and donate a life. My theme is what I tell them. I said, be a hero. The last thing you do on this earth is be a hero for somebody. And that's what I do, just give back.
We're also here to thank the Massachusetts Department of Health. They have a campaign to encourage people to register at any age. People can register in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s. We don't want people to self-select themselves out. There are people on the waiting list that are so sick that even not a perfect organ is going to be better than the organ that you have. Additionally, people can receive transplants at any age. We were just talking about Dick Cheney, the former Vice President of the United States, received a heart transplant at age 72. Do not rule yourself out. And again, thanks to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. On the website, registerme.org/MA, there's 2 fantastic videos that are actually being played on the radio today, actually all this month and next month, indicating that you can register at any age. And we want to educate to the population that may be called a little bit older. I will define that, whatever that is. I will say up to 150. We want to encourage those individuals to register.
I'm speaking on behalf of my husband, Art, who was a heart recipient. And he had a beautiful heart and lived a full and lovely, beautiful life for 9 years. And he was able to see both our daughters were married, but he was able to see after the transplant his second daughter married and 4 grandchildren. And he was so actively involved along with Matt Boger and helping with getting legislation through to make people more aware of what is going on and how wonderful being a donor can be. And working with the transplant area. Art received his heart transplant from Tufts Medical Center, and they saved his life. And we had many years of wonderful time together. And the story that I have to tell for Art is that it was very important to him that he be able to give as well as to receive. So at the end of his life, he was able to donate both corneas, and 2 people can now see because of Arthur. And it's a wonderful, beautiful story, and I want to thank you for letting me share it today.
My name is Dick Bale. I've lived here in Newton for about 45 years. I'm a retired physician in primary care and public health, so I'm well aware of the global importance of this issue internationally. My story was that I was serving in Africa in the World Health Organization and somehow acquired hepatitis C, I think through the practices of a local dentist there. I was compelled because of a dental emergency to seek care. And for 20 years I had the hepatitis C, and I was screened to make sure that I wasn't going to develop a cancer. I did develop the cancer in between those screenings, and by the time it was discovered, it was nearly inoperable, 1 millimeter, and I wouldn't have been qualified for a liver transplant. So then I had to go desperately searching all over the country, literally, for a center that did liver transplants and had a short enough waiting list so that I wouldn't be disqualified. I found that, fortunately, and there's not a minute that goes by in my life that I'm not grateful for that. It's just incredible that science and the people in these organizations, the doctors and people in Donate Life, can bring us together to a state that many, many people's lives are saved each year. I also wanted to just give one brief statistic. A healthy donor can save 8 persons' lives through organ donation. As Wendy just mentioned, you can restore vision to 2 people with your corneas, and through the donation of tissues such as bone marrow and cartilage, you can help 75 people heal. So the donation of your body after an unexpected death is a gift that will benefit many, many people. I want to especially thank Mayor Fuller and the health department here for their leadership in bringing to light this very important public health problem and bringing Newton, the awareness to Newton and surrounding communities of the importance of registering to donate.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jim O'Hare, and real happy to be here today. Fortunate to be here. I've been living in Newton for about 10 years. My life partner is here, and she was a teacher at Newton North for over 30 years. So when I retired and moved here in 08, I started to bike the whole city and walk the whole city and went on the conservatives' walks, and I was having a heck of a time. And all of a sudden, I couldn't do it. All of a sudden, I couldn't breathe like I used to, like I've done all my life. And this disease came out of nowhere. There was no explanation for it. I went to Beth Israel and spent 2 or 3 years there trying to explore it, get to the bottom of it, try to deal with it through medication. And in the fall of the year 2013, my pulmonologist at BI said, "I'm out of tricks." What does that mean? He said, "The only solution for you is a transplant." And, it was impossible really at that time for me to process what that could mean for me and how I would go about it. But I went to the Cleveland Clinic, and in August of 2014, I received the lung like Jim Pazanisi, and here I stand before you today, doing virtually everything I was doing before. I'm not biking, I'm not jogging, but I'm pursuing all of the other interests in my life that are important to me and that keep me happy and make me who I am today, make me the person that I want to be, including with my sons and my grandchildren and my daughters-in-law, and I have a full life, and I'm just absolutely grateful for it, and to the lung donor and to this organization that I'm now part of, New England Donor Services, and their efforts, and to see them in operation, to see the enthusiasm of the volunteers and the people that work there is just very gratifying. And to have a chance like this today is also. So thank you for listening.
Newton News was brought to you in part by the Village Bank. Your village, your bank.